This is Bishop H. Let's talk about one of life's super important decisions. I'm not talking about getting married. I'm talking about choosing a church. All right. And I'm using those words quite lightly because we are living in the choosing generation. And the effects of that are upon us. So most of us will sit down and the process usually goes like this. You go to a church, you visit 3 or 4 times, you love the music, you love the pastor, or you love something about the church. And then obviously you choose that church. Or somebody preached to you and they introduced you to their church, and that's how you became a member of a church. There are quite different ways that people chose or choose churches. Some of them unorthodox, some of them a little bit strange, but however relevant. I've heard of people that dreamt about a church, never been there before, and they go there. Some people through social media, where they keep watching a certain person or a certain ministry until they're allured to it and they go. So the ways that people choose churches are vast, they're broad, they're quite different. And I want to just hear what's God's view concerning that. What does God want in order for us to choose a church? All right. This is a vast topic. I'm quite aware I might not be able to cover all of it, but I believe from today's session you will have the basic guidelines on how to choose a right church. Why it's important. There are many churches out there that are called churches, but they're not necessarily biblically aligned. There are churches that are also satanic, yet they are called churches. So we need to be aware of that when we make the decision to choose a church. So how do you choose a church? Point number one, the most important thing. God, or the God of the Bible, is a living God. He's a real person. Okay, let me not put those things because it's going to really make it weird. But he's a real person. It means that if you ask him to guide you, he will do that. It might not necessarily be a loud voice that says, go to Church of the Victorious Penguins of Madagascar. It might not be that kind of voice. However, he might orchestrate the right people, the right circumstances, and as long as you have prayed earnestly from your heart, God will answer you and direct you to a church. So that's the first way. And that one, you have to believe that God is, and he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. But you need to believe God is a speaking God and understand the speakings of God. It could be through a dream, through a random meeting, through somebody who invites you, yet it will be God working in all those people to get you to the church where you belong. And I'm saying that as well because you don't belong to every church. There is a church with the right kind of setup that is designed for you to bring out the best in you. And many a time, you are going to be in one church for the rest of your life. However, there are circumstances whereby God will move you. And we are going to discuss that probably in another subject altogether, or maybe a little bit later in brief. So that's the first one. Number two, do your research. It's good to go to a church, even if you have been directed by God. God will not hold you guilty to do due diligence. Go and visit a church. Go start to watch what they put online and what they believe. And these are the things that you are watching for. Are they speaking or preaching about Jesus? That's very important. Are they preaching about Jesus, or they are preaching about something else? And you cannot tell this from just one service, because you can go to a service and maybe the emphasis on that service was on a completely different subject. And maybe they're talking about money. You're going to go back and say, oh, that church is so much into money. Yet, maybe you just came at a season where that was the main preaching. However, they are still preaching about Jesus. All right. What else are you looking at? You are looking at how do people relate with one another? Is there an atmosphere of love? That's very important. When you find an atmosphere whereby people are hypocrites and they don't want to show themselves for who they are, that's something that you need to just take note of. You take note of that. Church is not a place of perfect people. It's a place of people who are being perfected. But they have to be honest. Number 3, what are you looking for? You're looking for the leadership. Is there clear structures in the church? Or everybody's just doing what they want, and that's a sign that there's no clear leadership in a church. So that's another thing that you need to consider. Is there clear leadership? Is there clear order? Or anybody is just doing whatever they want, working up and down, taking as much time as they want on the pulpit or during the programs, or there is a clear order? So those are some of the things that you need to look at when you are considering a church. And if possible, all of those at the same time. May God lead you. I'm praying for you to be part of a church God has called you to be part of. And when you discover even something that's not so great a bit later, it doesn't mean it's not a good church. It could be a phase. It could be something that is passing. But if God has directed you and you have done due diligence right from the beginning, trust God and stick with your church and love your church and help your church to grow. God bless you.